Hi, beautiful mama, and welcome to the Nourished Podcast. My name's Annabelle, but before we begin, I want to acknowledge you. I want to specifically acknowledge every deep breath you've taken when you felt overstimulated, when you felt burnt out, when you felt exhausted, yet still decided to show up, okay? Yes, there's strength in that, absolutely. And I see that and I acknowledge that. You've come so far. Thank you for showing up here today on this show. And thank you for showing up in life in general. And your kids, I'm sure, will thank you in the years to come. Now, this episode is about something really cool. It's about connecting to the simplicity of joy. Joy isn't always the big grand gestures. Joy is the little things in life that really light us up. And it's not about having the perfect slow life. It's about stopping in any given moment and being able to find a little spark of joy in anything around you. And you can do that. You can do that in any moment. That's moving beyond the overwhelm, moving beyond the depletion, moving beyond that never-ending to-do list, and acknowledging something that fills your heart just a little bit. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, mums are strong. Mums are really strong. And it's not responsibility that creates overstimulation and exhaustion. It's the constant stimulation that's never ending. It's that inability to finish a sentence in our mind because of everything that's going on around us, okay? And that can be frustrating, especially for mothers with sensitive nervous systems who crave slowness, who crave quietness, and perhaps you're one of those mamas too. But this is about creating a sanctuary within us so that even though there's overstimulation that's happening externally, we have enough internal reserves and we can find enough joy in any given moment to actually contribute to that moment. Because overstimulation is interesting. We could be overstimulated by a situation or we could be swept up in it. Children screaming and running around, sometimes that can feel super overstimulating, especially when the burdens of life are there, when the exhaustion's there, when we're trying to have time to cook dinner and there's those constant demands and those constant screams. But we can also take a moment to stop and join in, because when we step into that stimulating world that our children have, we become part of the noise and we get swept up in it, and it changes the situation completely, okay? Overstimulation occurs when we don't have those reserves of joy, when we don't have those reserves of life, and we're trying to push on regardless. But sometimes all it takes is a moment of presence, a moment of connection, a moment of shared joy with our children to completely change any situation. And that's the emotional landscape in the home in that situation, but it's also the emotional landscape within you. Because if we stop for a moment, if we stop trying to do 50 things at one time, and we just stop for 5 minutes and join in with the screaming, join in with the running around, join in with the laughter, it completely changes things. And you'll notice that a calm can actually settle afterwards, because when children are being overstimulated, sometimes the thing that they need to bring them back down, to bring them into connection, is your presence, is your undivided attention for those few minutes. Because children, they lend off our nervous system. And if they can take a bit of our calm nervous system, if they can take a bit of our presence in our nervous system, then they will. But they'll also take exhaustion. They'll also take overstimulation within our nervous system and then add to it as well. Now, I said before that responsibility is not the problem, because it's not. Responsibility gives meaning to our life. It's everything stacked on top of each other. And it's that loss of joy and simplicity within all of it that really is the problem. And the reality is that so many women have lost that connection to the beautiful simplicity of everyday life. And beauty can come in many ways. So I want you to just stop and ask yourself what beauty means to you, what simplicity means to you. Okay, that could be simply noticing the trees as they sway in the breeze. That could be stopping and smelling a coffee in the mornings rather than just gulping it down as fast as you can. It could just be focusing purely and only on the food that you're cooking. It could be sitting down and being present with your children and not allowing those racing thoughts to take over. Okay, beauty comes in many ways. And, everybody's definition of beauty is different. And pun intended, that's the beauty of it, okay? We're all unique. And when we disconnect from that and that essence of life and the beauty within it, then life becomes dull. And for women, we're feminine. We need to drop into that. When we let the masculine roles of motherhood take over, then we forget about beauty. We forget about simplicity. We forget about, the magic that can be found in any moment. And it's really sad when that happens, because then we don't teach our children to look for this in everyday life too. And any mum wants this. We want our children to be able to enjoy those simple moments of life, because yes, the grand things that happen in life and the big achievements are great, but what are they when we can't enjoy that everyday moment? When we can't enjoy the sound of a bird singing in the trees? When we can't enjoy the rain on a tin roof? But yes, my daughter said to me the other day that she doesn't like the sound of the rain on the roof. And I thought, how is that possible? I love it. But that's the beauty in it all. We find beauty in different things. Some people may like the sound of birds, some may not. Everybody's different and everybody's unique. And this is an encouragement for you to find that uniqueness within your life. I can't sit here and tell you what you find beautiful. I can't sit here and tell you how to find joy in your life, because that's your own discovery. I can give you the tools to reconnect with that aspect of yourself, but you're the one who needs to go out and find it. And that's the beauty of it. But if we never stop in our everyday life, if we never stop and notice and go, what around me is beautiful right now? What around me can I find joy? Then without that searching, we're never going to find it, because we're not looking for it. And yes, you may look around and go, my house is trashed right now. My house is filthy right now. But that's not the point. There should be something in your house that can be beautiful even with the mess. Perhaps that's a special mug that's yours. Perhaps that's a picture on the wall. Perhaps it's the color of your sheets that you put on the bed this morning. It can be anything. Perhaps it's a candle that you've lit in the corner. Beauty can be found everywhere, and it's up to us to intentionally place it throughout our house, because we find joy in that. We find joy in beauty, okay? If there's nothing around us that incites beauty within us, then there's nothing around us that can incite joy. Joy and beauty are completely intertwined. Now, joy and beauty isn't something that disappears quickly. Over the years of constant demand and constant pressures that motherhood can bring, it slowly gets worn down. And we start to think, what's even the point? What's the point of making one beautiful corner in the house? What's the point of having a candle? What's the point of having something that's mine? Because it might get nicked and smashed on the floor at some point. But there is, okay? Because that's you reclaiming a part of your life back. And don't feel shame if, there's nothing in your house that incites beauty and joy, because it doesn't have to be. It could be the smell of cooking. It could be the smell of coffee, as I've said many times. But you can always start, okay? Sometimes it's just sitting outside and feeling the wind on our face, feeling the sunshine on our face. Beauty can be found everywhere. And the joy that comes with that is so important. Now, the important thing is if you found yourself in survival mode for many years, you've been constantly on, constantly doing, constantly thinking in the future about everything that needs to be done, and perhaps even thinking in the past about all the things that you shouldn't have done and, you're feeling guilty from. Beauty and joy are found in the present moment. They're found in the present moment. They're from moving beyond the past, moving beyond the future, and anchoring yourself here and now, even if it's just for a minute, because there's so much power in that. It's those little moments that slowly begin to fill your cup up again and slowly start to make you feel like you again. Because healing doesn't always happen in the big moments. It rarely does. Healing happens when you start to notice life again and you start to notice what actually lights you up, because it might be different than what it used to. And that's okay. I get it. The things that used to light me up, not all of them do anymore. I used to enjoy cleaning the house. I used to enjoy cooking, but it's become such a chore that I don't always find joy out of that anymore. But that's okay. I can move beyond that because I found other things that I do still enjoy. I still enjoy the smell of my coffee, obviously, but I also enjoy speaking. And it's something that I've moved towards consistently over the past 6 years, is my ability to speak and communicate. And I guess a little bit of a personal story here, but communication used to be massive for me. In the way that I wasn't able to communicate. Anytime something vulnerable would come up, whether it was in a friendship, in a relationship, I would instantly shut down. My body would go into a protective mechanism and I would literally lose my thoughts. My mind would blank and my communication just would go out the window. Or I would get a lump so big in my throat that the words just wouldn't come out, and they never did. And it's taken a lot for me to be able to get to the point where I'm sitting here now and I can talk freely about things that are vulnerable, things that do cause us pain, and ways that we can move beyond it, okay? Because speaking lights me up. It's a way for me to connect with the world. It's a way for me to use my voice. And it's a way for me to prove to myself that I'm still here and I matter. And I'm able to communicate in a way that I never thought I would be able to. And that really brings the joy in for me. Because the truth is motherhood is a really busy period in our life. I don't have to sit here and tell you that. It's the truth and reality of it. But that's all the more important for us to take those moments to slow down, to notice that beauty, whether it's within us, whether it's without, and the things that light us up, okay? Because yes, we do change and grow as humans when we enter into motherhood, but it's exciting at the same time too, because we get to explore ourselves to deeper levels. Mothers go through a journey, an initiation that only a mother can know. And that's bringing life into this world. Not just bringing it into this world, but raising it into the future generations. And so it's so important for us to take that time out through those busy periods to check in with ourselves and say, well, what brings me joy in this moment? If I haven't found joy in a while, then how can I find that? What little things light me up? And it might start really softly first, because it's never a loud bang, okay? It's never a loud bang to begin with. It always starts small. And start small with a little whisper. And the more that you can listen to that whisper of joy, the bigger it becomes, until you find it intertwining with your entire life. And then it doesn't have to be forced. It becomes natural. And you'll just find these moments where you'll be overcome by joy and you don't even know where it came from, okay? The more that we can open the door, even slightly to begin with, the more we welcome it in and the more we encourage it into our lives, and the easier it gets to enjoy it. So this week I encourage awareness. I encourage awareness into the moments that bring joy, because joy always comes through our senses. It comes through touch. It comes through smell. It comes through sight. So notice these things and know that it's the start of another journey, a journey of inner exploration as to what joy means for you. So I would love to hear about your own journey, what things spark that joy within you, because it might just surprise you. You might actually reveal a part of yourself that you didn't actually know was there. And I think for the next week, let's all find beauty in the small moments. The small moments that make up life, that make up the grand futures that we all imagine. They're built brick by brick by every single little moment of our life. So let's look at that and let's find the joy in those moments, regardless of what we're going through or the pressures that life may be putting on us. If you've enjoyed this episode, then I encourage you to share it with another mama, a mama that perhaps needs that little reminder that we can find joy in every single moment, okay? Because I know that life and motherhood isn't always joyful, because there are moments where we have to push through exhaustion, where we have to override what our body is trying to tell us in order to get things done, okay? But the more that we can learn to reconnect with our body, the more that we can learn to reconnect with joy, the more that we can reconnect with those simple moments, the more beautiful and enriched life is going to be. So I see you, mama. I see how far you've come, and I'm here with you. So let's bring that joy back. I'll see you in the next episode.